Well, good evening, everybody. It wouldn't be a proper tribute to the dude if we'd have started on time. So we've just had a little chat about what we're going to do and pop some things up on screen. We'd want one or two things out. Hi, Stacey. Nice to see you, but
Yes.
not such good circumstances, obviously.
No.
I mean, you've obviously had well, I think we've all had like a day to 24 hours to sort of digest the news. I don't know about you, but it's actually getting harder.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for sure. Settling in now, that's for sure. It's the beginning was just sort of, just came and went, and the knowledge, the
well,
information
yeah.
came, but now it's settling in.
Well,
Super
a
difficult.
combination of numbness and shock, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot more. It's funny. The memories start dominoing on you, and
Yep.
but I'm super grateful for this technology, so we can all. I was at a very famous person's wake once, and this guy said, to quote Charlie Brown, "Good grief." That's what we're having here is good grief,
Yeah.
and that's what I hope we do. And it's so nice to see the community come together.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I mean, I know that there's quite a bit to go through. We are hoping that Mark is going to be joining us as well. For me, when I woke up this morning, it's the main thing that was going through my mind was, this isn't how it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like this. You're meant to be able to say your fond farewells and just to be taken so suddenly. It just seems totally bizarre. And I mean, if we're feeling bad, imagine how his family are feeling.
Yeah, Sherry and Greg must be. I mean, it must be exponential, the sort of waves that are going through them, because daily life with Richard, and to be there when it happened in their home. And so my heart and prayers go out to them, and yeah, it's so surreal. This it's just it makes you just, the whole reality shifts for a second, and you just go, wait. I mean, I see it
Mm-hmm.
online a lot. Like, people go, is this real? And
Yeah.
yes, unfortunately it is, and that's the
Oh,
nature of life.
yeah, I had a few people, getting in touch saying, this is a joke, isn't it? And it's
Yeah.
like, no,
No.
you don't joke with
No.
something like this.
And thank you for hosting this, Paul. Super
Well,
important.
oh well, it's it's both an honor and an obligation, a pleasure, and
A duty.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's look back though on much more pleasant times when we
Yeah.
when all four of us first met up in Australia. What had you hadn't had a chance to meet the dude before then, had you?
No, I hadn't.
Not in person.
No, not in person, just online. And like I say, that first time he was coming into the airport, he had gone through that whole rigmarole with the passport and timing, and he was agitated. I thought, oh my God, this guy's super angry that I'm here, because Mark had kind of kept me at a table and said we didn't tell him. And but then I realized it was just it was a new thing for him too. So there was a bunch
Yes.
of stress, but I am so happy for him that he got to experience that. Such a great gift Mark
Yeah.
gave all of us, and to have him be able to open his mind and travel to another. I mean, it was really interesting to see him go through that process. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
Do you think that partly his constantly stopping at convenience stores to look for Dr. Pepper was actually partly for show, partly for genuine sustenance, and whether it was partly just for his own information, you know, he couldn't believe that there would be shops that didn't sell Dr. Pepper. I don't know what did you get there?
I think it was a genuine addiction to Dr. Pepper. And,
yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes we need those comfort things when we're in an environment that is new to us. And I think even though he took the trial very easily, but you always want that sort of familiarity or something. And plus, you know, I think he drove. It's part of his fuel in a way. It's like some of these like mythical things. People have an elixir, and that keeps him. And that was kind of his, you know. And I don't know if it added to you know, the benefit of his health, but it was part of him. He just, you know, it seemed to be, he functioned better when he had it in his system.
Yes.
And you stealing them out of the fridge in Wisconsin was not. That was all fun. Was that in Wisconsin or was that in Australia? That was in Wisconsin.
It was in Australia.
Was it? Yeah.
If you remember on the Thursday morning when we arrived at Miller's Point, if you remember, Mark had to go back.
Oh yeah.
He was voting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Good memory.
And what was sort of kind of funny was the fact that Mark had stressed to all three of us, now make sure you've got everything because you won't be coming back here.
That's
make
right,
sure you've got everything. And I don't know who was responsible for packing Mark's bag, but anyway, it didn't get packed, and it kind of suited him that he was able to go and vote, because he had to vote, and also on the way down, we designed the banner. Can you remember the designing of the banner? Can you remember what it was? Can you remember what it was that the dude wanted on the banner? Like it was, it was endless, wasn't it? What he wanted, and we all sort of said, "Well, let's just keep it nice and simple, shall we?" You know, you know, really, all we need is free Stephen Avery, free Brendan, and then the sharp sign work with KZ. And I don't think he was totally a favour of that to begin with, but I think once he saw the business cards, I think that really you know, made him chuck, you know. Because again, that was something that you know we sort of discussed with Mark beforehand, and he knew nothing about,
right?
Until we got there, you know. But that was so funny on the Sunday afternoon. I think you went for a wander around Melbourne and said that you'd meet us at the Marvel Stadium because you wanted to go and see a bit of the city. And we ended up going to the zoo.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, to see
without kangaroos.
Yeah, to see kangaroos and koalas. That was the main thing, you know.
Yeah.
And as soon as we arrived at the zoo, we go in, and the first thing he starts taking pictures of, fascinated with giraffes.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's so nice that you have more memories of. I lose a little bit of the details, but when you bring them up, they come back. And
oh yes, yeah.
That was a.
I just remember that when we went to the show on the Saturday night, we then went to was it like an indoor shopping area that it even had a casino, didn't it?
That's right, yeah. And the food court, I think that's why we went there. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's why we did go there.
And we obviously we had a good chat there, and then we walked back. And you remember there was like these ponds and fountains on the way up the road, and there was people swimming in them at like midnight and 1 a.m.
Yeah, that was in Melbourne, right?
Yeah. And then we arrived back and we went to the bar. I think there was a music session going on downstairs, but by this time it was very late, and I think I left.
I opted out of that.
Mark and the dude.
Yeah.
Were you not chatting with some of the other
I was
people?
up in the room by that time, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. No,
So,
it's
no, it was such a great. It was such a great memory to travel down there and meet Richard and yourself, and actually that's when the first time I met Mark as well.
yeah.
And you know, the thing that got me is, even though you don't meet in person, through online social media and YouTube live streams, you feel like you know each other anyway. So um, yeah, it was interesting to be around everyone for that first. We were only there a week, I think. So but felt right at home with Richard, you know, and
Yeah.
he's just a big. I was thinking, you know, it's funny because he's such a big guy and just a big care bear, you know. He's just a
Yes.
big caring guy. Like, even though and what I really appreciated was he would let you express your opinions, and he might not agree with them, and he
Yeah.
would let you know that he didn't agree with them, but never in an unfriendly manner. Or
Oh no.
he would always bring it back to being classy or allowing alternative views and stuff. And yeah, such a sad loss, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll pop this one up first of all. I
Sure.
think this is it's short, but it's very much to the point as far as I'm concerned. This is let me just check this a minute
Sure.
and make sure I've got the right one up.
I actually brought a I do not drink this stuff in general.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
an honorary one for Richard. To be honest, I went down to Texas last year to interview Travis, and
yeah,
on the airport, I was waiting for and getting something to eat, and there was a Dr. Pepper, and I thought I better try one, and I
yeah.
didn't like it at all. But today I'm sacrificing one for Richard. So
To be honest, Dr. Pepper, yeah, it's okay. I don't
oh,
mind
it's not
it.
bad.
I tend to go for the diet stuff now. You know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
he loved it though.
Well, yeah. He was obsessed with it. I think he said that he could occasionally manage a Coke. Well, he did. Part of the time when, of course, we went to that restaurant, and remember it's really windy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there was the table next to us there. They must have been there all afternoon on the wine, because
That's
a
right.
few
That
of them
lady.
were completely legless, weren't they? You know.
Yeah, that lady fell over. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was beside himself. Once he couldn't seem, for some reason, to get them to bring him a Diet Coke.
Actually, the Diet Pepper story I remember is when we found a shop. He saw like a cigarette shop or a little convenience store across the street, and he booked it for that thing to see if there was Dr. Pepper. And I thought he'd come out with like 2 cans, but remember he had the bag. He had like I think he bought 6 or 12 of them, and he was set. But that was good because he found them and he was set up.
Yep.
It's actually not bad, to be honest. This Dr. Pepper.
Sure. Okay, here's the one that I think is very appropriate for him. I shall not pass this way but once. Sorry, I shall pass this way but once. Any good that I can do, or any kindness I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. And I think that's
that is, yeah, that's a lot of Richard
true
in there.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that came to mind was in that vein was I heard this thing the other day of they did studies on the brain, and when you get a compliment, you're like dopamine or some sort of brain levels increase. But when you receive a compliment, it goes up a bit. But when you give a compliment, it goes exponentially higher. And I thought about that yesterday about Richard. Is you could see, and the passion he had for the case, because it was purpose, and it was a good cause, and he felt it. And I think I mean, to me, I could always see him energized when he was, we had lulls in the case and stuff, but when he was on fire with the passion, he was alive,
Yeah.
probably more than he'd been in his life. It seemed you could just see. Sometimes not getting the words out quick enough, and about that giving, and that's, to be honest, that's our whole community. We care. We're people that care. So it's super,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and it showed in the the GoFundMe and all the stuff we do, Marathon. And
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah.
Yep. There's actually a comment here from Sandra, who said that she wouldn't be able to make it on. I quite understand. Steve doesn't know. Certainly Brendan does, because I got a message from a very close friend to say that Brendan's very sad to hear of what happened.
Yeah. That's great that Brendan knows. I think one of the things that kind of got me to my heart yesterday was the idea that when Steve and Brendan get out, they will just have to know about this. They'll be able to watch the videos, but it's kind of a real shot to the heart where you think they'll just have to learn via stories. And I mean, it's interesting, to be honest, because Erekose is that fictional character, the eternal champion, and he actually is kind of he will have turned into one, for them. Yeah.
Yep. Very much so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll get this one done and over with quickly, because it's a long one. But again, it's one of these things that, for me, it just it
also,
says so
I can't
much.
see chat as well. I'm on my phone here, so I can never see the chat. Yeah.
No worries. I've got it up. I mean, I've been inundated with people sending messages.
Yeah, me
let's
too.
Let's get this sad bit done and over with.
Sure.
And then we can
do that.
Yeah. This was actually written in the late 1700s. Behold this ruin, 'twas a skull, once of ethereal spirit full. This narrow cell was life's retreat. This space was thought's mysterious seat. What beauteous visions filled this spot, what dreams of pleasure long forgot. Yet hope nor joy nor love nor fear have left one trace or record here. Beneath this mouldering canopy once shone a bright and busy eye. But stare not at this dismal void, if social love that eye employed, if with no flawless fire it gleamed, but through the dews of kindness beamed, that eye shall be forever bright, when stars and sun are sunk at night. Within this hollow cavern hung a ready, swift, and tuneful tongue. If falsehood's honey it disdained, and where it could not praise was chained. If bold in virtues caused it spoke, yet gentle concord never broke. This silent tongue shall plead for thee, when time unveils eternity. Say, did these fingers delve the mine, or with the envied rubies shine, to hew the rock or wear a gem? Can little now avail to them. But if the page of truth they sought, or comfort to the mourner brought, these hands a richer meed shall claim than all that wait on wealth and fame. Avails it whether bare or shod, these feet the paths of duty trod, if from the bowers of ease they fled to seek affliction's humble shed, if grandeur's guilty bribe they spurned, and home of virtue's cot returned. These feet with angel rings shall vie, and tread the palace of the sky. Yeah, I've been practicing that and trying not to break up with it.
It
it's
gets
like,
you.
yeah, particularly the bit about the let me share that bit about the truth. But if the page of truth they sought, that's just very powerful stuff. As I say, written in the 1700s. It's a great bit of poem. So tell us about how did the dude first make contact with you about the songs that you'd written?
You know, I think the first main contact, there might have been a comment or two on when I put out TikTok Manitowoc. But the first real thing was I got a message from him. We became friends on Facebook, and then I got a message from him on Messenger, and he just asked. He made the sort of comments like, "Love your music. I was wondering if you'd like to be on the show," and then so we bounced back and forth like that. And we actually never got to do a real live for quite a while. And the funny thing with Richard and I was, I felt like we were. It's not. I don't want to use the term, but it's the best analogy. It's like soldiers. We were on the same platoon. We didn't hang out. But when something came up of the case, or I had an idea, or he had an idea, we often messaged through Messenger. And then once I had that live with him, the music really, I got it from everyone's energy. I got momentum, and then he started putting them at the beginning of his videos and at the end, and was always promoting when I came out with a new song, and really pushed to get my subscribers up. I mean, that was just amazing, you know, along with other people, but he really was a force. And the more I think about it, he changed my life, because with that energy on his channel, that's how Mark Hodnott knew about me, and then that's how I ended up in Australia. And I mean, it's just amazing when to think of this sort of a relationship that I didn't really, it was there, in my life, but I didn't realize how much of a part. Recently, obviously, the last couple of years I have, because so much changed, and I became an advocate like you and Richard and a lot of us for this cause. And but at the beginning, it was just very light and just, hey, do you want to come on my channel? And I mean, in the heyday, I loved, we go through these cycles, but in the heyday of his lives, I loved them. I was on when he was doing a live and all those people were gathering, that was just a great memory for me.
Yeah, well, when we had carpool karaoke on the way down to Sydney.
That was, that's another surreal moment that Richard was, he liked the music. He really saw it. He knew it wasn't like rock star stuff, but he liked it. And I could tell it's such a great, I had another couple experiences with other supporters where you see that the music touched them. And to me, to see it's just so great, it's just it's an undescribable feeling to go, whatever I did, they got it. These people got what I was feeling and stuff. And so I've had that experience with you and Fen and a few others where you just know they know the song,
Yeah.
But he used to get in. I always wanted to do that duet with him in his studio.
You don't want to do a duet with him. He's singing bloody awful.
Yeah. That was it, though. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Oh, shit.
Oh, dear. I mean, the thing is, I remember when the first song I heard of yours, I don't think it was your first one, Don't Get Strange, was it?
No, it wasn't, no.
No. But
TikTok Manitowoc was the first one, yeah.
Right. And you'd also already done 36 million before that, hadn't you?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But the first one I heard of yours was Don't Get Strange.
Yeah.
And of course, what was really funny about that one was the fact that so many people thought that it was actually Papa Avery that had said that.
I thought that until you told me. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. It's amazing. But I don't know if I alerted the dude to the fact that there's these songs on YouTube about making a
Right.
murderer. But,
To be honest, he was a hidden force on the Making a Murderer Reddit. So he would never. I had this conversation with him because he said he would scan the Reddit Making a Murderer subreddit thing, and I was on there all the time. I mean, I was living there, and but he said he would just take the information and he wouldn't add too much, and because I asked him his username and I forget what it was, but I didn't recognize it. And for those of us that were in the community back then, you knew the names that were active on that. Even though there was thousands of people, there was a handful of posters, and so I think that's where he first got. But I don't know how he came about starting. I can't remember how he started putting them at the beginning of his videos. I think he asked, or I don't know. Yeah, kind of blends into the ether.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, his singing was anywhere between bad and atrocious. It didn't matter. It was the fact that he was so, as you say, so passionate about it.
He really was, I truly believe, and I believe he mentioned this either in private conversation or maybe on a live stream. It was the most alive and driving force he'd felt in his life.
Yeah,
I think you could just see it, and I love it when, maybe that's like a lot of us in this case, it sparks something in us, but I believe that when you get that sort of passion, you are becoming more of who you're meant to be or who you are or whatever you want. And that was his, that was the drive, man. It's so nice to be part of and to witness.
Yeah. I mean, I don't suppose it would be too wrong of me to say that we actually chatted a bit about him growing up and being a youngster, a juvenile teenager, and then adolescent in Los Angeles. He did say that he could very well have ended up like a lot of other people and have succumbed to addiction and got into all sorts of trouble. And there was just something that he said to me, he kept waking up in the morning feeling so bad, suddenly realizing this isn't doing me any good. It's got to stop. And that's what he did. And he kind of turned himself around. So, I always held him in high regard for his YouTube, obviously, YouTube channel, but even more so as the fact that he'd managed to turn that corner. Obviously once Australia had finished, I came back home and stopped drinking for about 3 months.
Yeah, right
on.
No.
Only started up again because when we were meeting up in Manitowoc, he actually said to me, he said, do you have to keep this no drinking going? Could you not just take a few while you're in Manitowoc, And I'd actually discussed it with the drummer, for example, and said, and he said, well, I don't drink at all when I'm at home, but when I go out on holiday and I know I'm not going to be driving the car for 2 weeks, that's when I would normally have a few beers. So we did, but
well, Ted, before we leave Australia, tell us how it was to room with him.
Well, bloody awful. Bloody awful. I remember the first night waking up at like 5 a.m, and there's this alarm that I can hear, and I'm thinking, where's that alarm coming from? And you know what it's like. You're expecting any moment now for the alarm to stop,
right? And
it wasn't stopping, but I couldn't figure out where it's coming from. As you came into the place we were staying, I don't know if you were above, but we were on the ground floor, and so I was the one. Just as you came in the door, there was a bedroom on the left, and then you went through to there was a kitchen, if I remember straight ahead. There was a bathroom to the right, But then immediately to the right, it went to the lounge.
Yeah.
Which is where, for example, when the dude did a chat, a video with Hugh Fraser,
Right.
that's where he did the chat, was in the
Yeah.
lounge. And then beyond that lounge was where the dude was staying.
Yeah.
And I eventually managed to trace the alarm sound to his room, and it was his phone that was lying on the table right next to him, and they couldn't even bother to switch it off, So I was like, for goodness sake,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then lo and behold, he did exactly the same in Manitowoc.
Right.
Yeah, just slept
Heavy
through the
sleeper.
Well, yeah,
And then in Manitowoc, there's you were trying to give him some dance lessons. I heard, I saw.
Trying. I mean, that was it just wasn't
That's
going to.
epic. Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Glad some of that stuff is caught on video, because both Denise is in that video as well. That Manitowoc at the guest house. And yeah, that's the stuff. To be honest, the last 24 hours, the mind wants to go to the sad. You want to. It sort of spirals down once you get sort of emotional, and then you start going down. But I love bringing up these memories of that make you laugh. It's glad to have them.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that that I'm sort of realizing myself is that I do need to cut back and lose some weight. So one of the things I am going to do is, with what's happened to the dude, it really has made me decide, that's I need to cut down on my weight. I'm gonna really do this and do it properly, and I'm gonna let everybody know more or less on a weekly basis.
Yeah, good for you.
What I've come down to, because I'm starting off at 20 stone 9, which is 289 pound.
Oh yeah.
And I need to come down a bit.
Yeah.
You
did it before. You shed when you quit the drink there for a bit. You shed quite a few pounds. I could see it in your face and stuff. And that's just a great honoring memory of Richard to do something like that. I mean, I had another supporter like you. I've got lots of messages. And another person said that too. And I think that's a great way to honor Richard. Not only to put energy into the case, but to value yourself and your health, and realize that you're better here than elsewhere. So.
Yeah. So no, it's I've put a little hashtag in the description. Let's do this for the dude.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say was that if anybody else out there has got like a sort of like a similar kind of New Year's resolution, and want to join me on this, then fine. Let me know what you're wanting to do and wanting to achieve as a resolution. I mean, ideally, I'd like to get down to. I mean, at one time I was like a size 34 waist. So I need to. I need to take about 10 inches off my waist. Really, that's and that would be good, and that would be because I struggle now at gigs.
Yeah.
When I'm doing a gig and I'm humping a load of gear about and trying to get set up, I just feel that it's getting harder and harder. Not that I'll be doing many gigs.
No, but I saw that in Richard too. I saw that. I've made a couple of comments to him when we were there. About the smoking, and so it's like, it's not to harp on people, but it's to for my own personal, I'm just past 6 years sober, alcohol free, and I was a heavy drinker before, and you start to care for yourself, and your life changes. And I used to put everyone else in front of me, and actually, that's a very similar trait of Richard's. He was very driven to serve people and the cause and stuff like that. But once you start doing that, life changes, and nothing but benefit.
Yeah. No, it's what I found difficult was that just before I got involved in the watching the Making the Murderer in 2016, the drummer in the band passed away of a very, very, very quick, very, very severe cancer. I mean, literally, he told me that he was going to go and see a specialist on the 21st of November, and by the following 4th of January, he'd passed away of cancer.
Right.
And that, you know, that was very shocking. It's not quite the same as, for example, you know, I hate to say this, but you know, like if an elderly relative,
right,
when they go, it's, yes, you're sad, but it's a different kind of sadness. But
yeah,
you know, getting the news about the dude, it's really
so young.
yeah. Well,
you know, it's funny because we joke, and Richard loved joking around too, you know. So it's like some of these things are like, but I thought, oh, that fucking chorizo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the, you know, chorizo and Dr. Pepper. But I, you know, a lot of people have messaged me privately and said something about a song, and actually within an hour of learning, I had the guitar and I was sort of fooling around. I mean, I don't know if anything's going to come of it, but once again, the lyrics come in, and I was like, there's a few subjects like Doctor Who, Dr. Pepper, chorizo, dim sum, you know. Hey, there he is. Hello, Marcus.
We've got another dude.
Hi, gentlemen. I'm sorry I'm a little late.
Oh no, you're absolutely fine. And as we actually started off late, because it would have been rude to the memory of Erekose had we started on time. When you consider he never ever started. Well, he did once. He did once start on time. And I thought, I actually sent him the message. You know, I sent him the message. Well, you look like the dude and you sound like the dude, but you're on time, so you can't possibly be the dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
early morning for you, Mark.
Very early. But that's fine. You know, it's like us all, I kind of haven't got used to the idea of him not being around. Yeah.
For me, it's like, you know, as I was saying to Stacey, it's like didn't get to say goodbye properly, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time I saw him was, you know, actually in the flesh, was at the Manitou rally last year, and literally he was late for his you know, for getting away so that he could fly. He was going to go up to Green Bay, wasn't he, to that little airport that he so loved. He so loved the airport at Green Bay. I think it was something with the fact that there was no weather overhead or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember he was running late, so I did actually say, you know, give him a hug and said, like just F off, dude. You know, you're late. Hurry up. You know, and that was the last time I saw him in public. You know, and he was so looking forward to coming up and visit us in Scotland. I mean, you've been, well, Stacey, you've been across. Mark, you've been twice now.
Yeah.
You know, there was so much I would have liked to have shown, and I know that he was desperate to go to Glasgow to see Sharon, and you know, I'm sure he would have gone down south as well and visited, you know, people down south like Sir Jane, and I think he would have liked to have gone and visited Sean Atwood as well, and I know he wanted to go to Cardiff. And I remember when he said Cardiff, and I'm like, why would you want to go to Cardiff? You know, of all the great, well, there's a Doctor Who museum there.
And he would have been live streaming the whole way. You know that?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah.
The last time I spoke to him was on Thursday, I think, from memory. But the last time I saw him was right at the end of February, when Sandra came across to Los Angeles, and we rendezvoused there and spent a couple of nights there with him, and had the honor of being inside his studio, and it was a lovely time. He enjoyed being the host and showing us around, and he's as we all know, Richard is a larger than life character, but deep down inside, he's just a boy, looking for meaning in life and trying his best, So I always enjoyed his company, even though he was dreadfully loud at times. It was. It was fun to be around, and was despite his volume button, he was a good listener at times, and was interested in what each of us had to say to him. I know he really valued our friendship, and he was the young one of the group, I think, wasn't he, Paul? You know the ages.
Yeah.
I know I'm at the other end, so that's all I think about. So,
I often refer to him as my wee brother, which is true in the sense that I was a lot older than him, but completely wrong in the sense that like I'm 5'9" and he's about 6'3". He's my wee brother.
Yeah. So it was, and the work that I'm sure you gentlemen have already spoken of this before I come online, so forgive me, but the work that he did, his tireless effort to pursue the interests of justice for Stephen and Brendan and other people, of course, not just them, but it's just phenomenal. I mean, it really became a mission for him to do whatever he could do to improve the lot of the wrongfully convicted, and I really admired his dedication to that cause. And no matter what he said, no matter what he believed in, he always acted very professionally and in a courteous manner, and which you can't say of all people who get on the bandwagon of doing stuff in public media. Richard's motivations were very honourable, and he sat in that little studio there, which I've been inside, and just pumped out those hours of stuff, and we all absorb it because it's easy for us to watch and see, but there's a lot of effort goes into that sort of work, and technically he was brilliant, and and it's just a shame that we're not going to, we're going to have it in our memories, but we're not going to have it in real time, because, as I've said a few times over the last 24 hours, the world needs people like Richard McAdam and championing causes that other people just forget about.
Yeah.
So,
did you, when you removed Captain Crunch and took him out for his photo shoot, did you do it? Did you do it without the dude's knowledge? I think you did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you managed to sneak him out.
I snuck him. We did. I took him back to the hotel for a night. I slept with Captain Crunch, you might say.
Oh dear.
And he went back to the studio satisfied. So I think I can't remember what either. It was that night, I think. I'm just trying to get the timing right. But Richard was on doing some live discussion, and Captain Crunch was missing in the background. Yeah. And I was trying to prompt him to say, "Where's Captain Crunch?" And he finally twigged that he'd been kidnapped. Or crunch-napped or something, right? So I don't know what you call it. So.
I look back in those videos and I just couldn't believe that. I knew they were there, but years of videos, just so much energy, so much work. And one of the things I feel like, because I've been here in the community quite a while, you can actually see Richard grow as a person from way back when, and as he became more confident and had more purpose, he just became a bigger person. And Steve, I think his boss's name was, he had, you could see him. He was he was very out there, nothing really hidden on him, and just a great person and soul. And But I could see it's always nice to see someone expanding in a way, you know, like, and I saw
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Did you get a chance to see the tweet by Jerome Buting?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah,
It was
I'll just read it out because it was very good. Jerome, this was 20 hours ago that he wrote this. Very sad to learn of the sudden passing of Erekose, a big Avery and Darcy supporter and very successful YouTube host in the Making a Murder community. His work, shining light on corruption, will be missed. Prayers to his loved ones worldwide. And also, Steve Drizzen also tweeted. Did you see Steve Drizzen?
That one cracked me up, actually.
Let me get Steve Drizzen's tweet as well then.
The most recent one from Steve was a picture of him doffing the cap. That was that teared me up.
Yeah. To think that the dude went, what was it, to the other side of the world to.
Yeah. And to be honest, he was so thrilled meeting Steve Drizzen. You could see it was like he went into the VIP area one person and he came out beaming. I mean, like, that was,
and he managed to assault him with a t-shirt as well. So that was
after I'd sort of misbehaved slightly, shall we say?
Yeah.
So Steve Drizzen wrote that in a sea of supporters, Erekose on Making a Murderer stood out for his devotion to Brendan Dassey. Richard was, in the words of MLK, a drum major for justice, not only for Brendan Dassey, but for others whose cases he investigated and discussed on his YouTube show. Respect, rest in peace. So yeah, it's great that they're
the worldwide part of it. That just hit me. You know, it's very true. Some people just say but it's actually he had an effect on the world. You know, and amazing. So many channels he had a hand in encouraging. You know, and never
indeed.
to be
It was his work that got me sort of connected deeper into the whole injustice issue and things that led from that. So
and here's what Laura Nyrider wrote. Rest in power. Erekose on Making a Murderer, your passion and drive will be missed, but the cause will never die. Very good. I will share this one because I maybe I'm biased because it's from a Scots lady that I know very well, but this was a great message from Sandra Lean. She wrote, I just heard about Erekose. I'm so sorry. His passion and commitment were incredible. He will be hugely missed. I'm literally just seeing your live stream now. The dude called the dude home. His work here is done. He started a tidal wave of awareness and left a legacy of light, picked up and continuing to shine through so many, sending much love to everyone. So that was very, very nice of Sandra. Very, very well put.
Very true.
Yeah. I like the bit about the dude called the dude home. Or should that be the big dude called the other dude home? You know. I was going to.
I was sorry. My thoughts were just reverting to Paul, yours and Richard's crazy battle over the nationality of Captain Crunch, and how I got roped into being a judge.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Seriously, I look back. It was just a classic sort of craziness stuff. And even when you won, you still wouldn't accept that you won. You wanted to win more, right? That's never let it go. It's like like someone being convicted of a crime, but no, I want another trial, right?
Yeah,
I want the first. I'm not, and being found innocent again. So
it was when he did his punishment video of God Save Our Ears, you know, and that's what really made me think, you know, dude, you are taking the mick here. I know your singing is bad, but it can't be that bad.
I think he thought it sounded okay. That was the scary part. So
Yeah.
it was. I mean, like that was a very typical Richard, because he would just push through, right? Didn't matter. Didn't matter what was going on. He just go, I'm into this, and away he went. You know.
Yeah. Hey, unfortunately, I have parental duties now, and I wanted to take time out to say thank you, and to both of you. And wish Richard well, and I'll be tuning in when I'm on the road, but I got to go pick up the kiddo. So thank you. I love you both, and everyone out there too.
Love you too. And,
okay, thanks for doing this, Paulie.
Yep, we'll be in touch.
Okay,
we'll be in touch.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. Yeah, for sure. Okay. I'm out.
Take care,
okay,
mate.
bye.
Bye.
So, thanks, Stacey. The other thing that I kind of almost felt bad about at the time was when we finally got our control question T-shirts done.
Yes.
And I said about the fact that I was going to go and pick them up, and it might be Monday, the following Monday. But if I get finished in time, I'll go down to the shop in Gala and pick them up, but I have to be there before 5 o'clock, you know. So he responds, well, you know, I hope you manage to get them picked up, you know, before 5 o'clock, you know. So as I was fully intended on going and getting them at before 5 o'clock, I'd already phoned the shop and said I'll be down to pick them up just before 5, so that's fine. And I messaged him and I said, well, you know, I'm hopefully going to be picking up the T-shirts, you know, hopefully, yes, everything will go well and I'll be able to get the T-shirts. Fine. I said, but I've just thought it wouldn't be fair of me to like show them to you before I've shown them to Mark first. And of course he's in Australia, so you know it might have to be like Saturday or Sunday before I can show you, you know. And can you remember what he replied with? No, Paul. Mark is in Europe. Mark is in Europe. He won't be asleep. You'll be able to get hold of him. Let him know. And then I did like 3 videos where I was sort of, you know, just kept waiting before showing him the T-shirts, because of course he was concerned, wasn't he, that it was going to be not very tasteful. It was going to be something like Captain Crunch or Dr. Pepper, you know. Yeah. But he liked the T-shirts so much that he ended up deciding to use the same design, and actually, you know, I can't remember how much he raised for Brendan with those T-shirts just by himself. Because I mean, he never made any money on those whatsoever. It all went to Brendan. Yeah.
I used to love. There was a time there, you remember, where you and I used to secretly get together and say, whenever you're having a live discussion with Richard, just somewhere in there, without it even having any meaning, slip in the fact about the control question and see what happens.
Could you tell me about this control question? You know.
And it was like someone had prodded him with a cattle stick.
It was.
You know? Off he goes. You know, I loved it.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it's funny how, you know, he picked up on that, and you've got, you know, Lincoln Fassbender and Hamilton. They both mention it. You know, Fassbender live on TV. Hamilton mentions it in his, you know, and he was absolutely right. You know, how can you possibly misinterpret what was being said as to you know, Brendan's will not being overborne. But yeah, it's no,
it's like if you go approach something with colored glasses, that's what you'll see,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's the difference, you know. Just like when Fassbender says in that interview, "Oh, I don't assess IQ." I mean, that sort of statement is like, I wish he just said nothing. You know, to hear him say that is just unbelievable.
yeah.
Hey, I was wondering whether or not I sent you a couple of
Yes,
a couple of tree, as Charlie would say, a couple of tree videos. I'm wondering if you've able
tree.
to
Indeed, yes.
cue any of those
You
for
did
display.
indeed.
Yeah,
I have, yes, absolutely. First one's first. Yes, it's ready to go. But let me just make sure that I've got the right one. Now, what have we got? Hold on a sec. I'll have to. Oh yes, there we go. There we go. I've definitely got that one.
so these are the ones I sent you, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe just to intro them, these were when the first time I went to the first rally in 2018, the first rally for me, I should say, in 2018. Richard also came over that year, and he arrived a few days before the rally, as did I, and we spent some time together doing a recce around the area, getting familiar with places and things. And we traveled together in my car once we're in Manitowoc, and so we took a few videos together when we were there. So these are some of those.
Yep, just queuing it up now. There we go. Hopefully this will all work. Yeah, looking promising, looking promising. Let me do this. Wow. My goodness, it looks like it's going to work. Let me click on this button here.
This is a quick trip in Two Rivers.
And
Yeah.
we needed to find some direction, so I got my chief navigator with me here.
That's right.
Doctor.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
That was the other thing that used to amuse me, was how much he would laugh at his own jokes.
It's good backup, I'd say, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no one else does, right?
let me see if I can find the other one. What are we looking for? Hold on a sec. Let me do this first. Let me remove that just for a moment. And very shortly, I'm pleased to say that we'll get Tracy to join us as well. But I just need to find this this other video that you sent me, and I remember exactly where it was. It was at the bottom of the list, but now, of course, it's moved. Now, what did I save it as? It was. I remember what I saved it. You know, what sort of title I gave it. Bear with me, because it's definitely here somewhere. And it was the one that you were just driving around Manitowoc, if I remember rightly.
There was one of the videos, we were driving between Mishicot and Two Rivers, and came across a really interesting road sign.
Yes.
And
also, while you were there, you did the I found it. You did the control question T-shirt draw.
Oh yeah, that's true. We did that too.
And I believe that you actually. Let me just pause that a minute. Let me just come back and just share the screen again. Yeah, you did the draw, but I think one of the tickets you drew out was actually for Robert Herman, but I think you declined to send it to him, didn't you? I think you decided you weren't going to share it with him. Is that right?
That's true. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if I can get this to work then. So far so good. And if I go down to here, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it. So here we go.
So, Richard, we've been out here in the Manitowoc County area for a couple of days and done a lot of things.
Found some things.
I have this really feeling of divinity when I'm in this area right here, that when I come to this area,
Closer to God.
Closer to God. And no matter what you lose here, whether it's your car keys, your hat, or your virginity,
Or your RAV4.
Someone's going to always find it for you. I'm not quite sure why I feel that, but I just have this sense of it somewhere in my mind that I'm closer to God somewhere around here. It's just the whole sense of where we are.
Yes.
Do you feel the same?
Indeed. You feel more in tune here somehow. It's just, like you just wouldn't have to waste time if you were looking for anything.
Yeah. It's a special place, that's for sure.
Special indeed.
So Tommy, when you were across there, who did the driving?
Me.
Oh.
Yeah. He was. I didn't want to rely on him for navigation as a navigation aid. So
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it was good fun, and we had a lot of little things like that together, both in Los Angeles. Quite a few times when I was coming across to Wisconsin, I would come through Los Angeles and he would come out to the airport early in the morning, usually around 7 or something, meet me. We go to his local Greasy Spoon and have breakfast together, and out would come the GoPro for an interview.
Absolutely.
The devoted reporter would never lose an opportunity for a chat, even though I'm like 15 hours a zombie from Australia. Yeah, hi everyone. So but it was good fun. Yeah. And we did that quite a few times, as well as over in Wisconsin itself. One of the things I had been speaking to him about in recent days, and as recently as last week, was that, as you know, he was planning an event in October, a wrongful conviction weekend, and he'd been asking me for a while. He said to me, "Mark, do you think would there be an opportunity to visit Alan Avery?" And I said to him, and the reason why he wanted to visit Alan, because he really had a huge amount of respect for Alan, and as a father and a devoted husband and community member, that he wanted to meet him because he felt like there was a missing piece of the puzzle in his understanding of everything, in that he never had met Alan. And I said, well, it's certainly possible. It's not something you just can turn up and meet him, but I was in the process having to commence a discussion with Carla and with Sandra and others about how that might happen, if in fact it could happen. And I know he was very keen for that to occur, but unfortunately, of course, that's not going to happen now. But it just shows you where his mind is thinking about things like that. And I think probably part of Richard's own personal history, would tell you a little bit about why he was keen to meet Alan and understand the world from his perspective. So, yeah.
I've kept Tracy waiting far too long. I do apologise. I had her in, and she was very desperate to come and share some good news.
I was desperate.
Yeah. Well, I'm desperate for you to tell us this news.
Some good news. I don't want to take too much time because I think everybody is probably sick of hearing me from last night. But I just need to say a big thank you to everyone. When I did the live yesterday, my intention was just to have a place for everyone to to come and share their grief, share their stories, because I think that it's very therapeutic to be around friends. And since we are all far apart from each other, the best way to do that was in a live stream. And it turned into something much more than that. We were on for 9 hours. And it turned into a mini mamathon, which I know that Richard would really appreciate. And before the live stream started, there was no GoFundMe. And during the stream, the family started one. And by the end of the live stream, I finally ended it after 9 hours. We had hit $5,000 that we raised for Richard's celebration of life. And I'm so proud of everybody for coming together to celebrate somebody that has been a part of our lives for seems like forever. But 4 years, and Richard was in our lives daily. And so to see everyone come together, no drama, everyone just want to come in and be together was really great to see. I've said in a couple places that it's pretty amazing to see how great social media can be when it's used for a positive reason.
Absolutely.
Richard's uncle stopped in many times, and that was the other nice thing, is that his Aunt Sherry, who's in the chat now too, I just saw her comment before, was in the chat the entire time. And Greg, his uncle Greg, came in and joined us several times and shared some nice stories about him. And they said that it was very therapeutic. Or Greg said it was very therapeutic for him because he was so lost and didn't really know what to do. And so I think it's just like when you have a loss in your family and the whole family gathers somewhere to talk about the person. And this was the same thing, just on a greater scale. And I know the family really appreciated that. Now, as of this morning, the GoFundMe is at about close to $6,200. So $6,200. And just because they hit their goal, you can keep donating. Just the more to help the family out. I would love to take away any financial burden on them when this happened, because as everybody knows, this was completely unexpected. They were not prepared in any way for this. And we don't want to add to their burden at all. We want them to be able to just grieve as long as they need to, and not have to have any other worries. So I know that they said that funeral arrangements or whatever they're going to do, it will probably take at least a week, maybe 7 to 10 days before they have any plans set. But they are going to try to live stream it in some way, because they agree that if they can't do that, then half of Richard's family would be missing.
Yeah.
And they really want everybody to be able to be there and help celebrate him. So that's really all I wanted to say. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that came on. We had a lot of great friends of his that came on, and so many people were in the chat. Some were there for the entire 9 hours. It was incredible. Yeah, it was incredible just to see. Like I said, it was similar to Mamathon. People just didn't want to leave. They wanted to, they wanted to talk, and they just wanted to be together. And so it was really, really amazing. It didn't start out that way. It was just, going to be a short little stream to talk, and it ended up being, like I said, a marathon. But we did a lot of good, and we helped out his family a lot. And I know that Richard would really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, Mark. I believe that the target initially was $6,000, and that was achieved within 18 hours.
Not even. It was less than that. Yeah, 12 hours probably. Not even 10, maybe 10 to 12 hours. Pretty amazing.
Yep. So yeah, people can still donate. Oh,
I have one more thing I almost forgot. Ricky Kidd, who Richard interviewed about a month ago, I think. He is doing his Freedom Lap tour right now, where he's crossing the country, speaking at different places about his wrongful conviction. And Justice always barks at the wrong time. He wants to do a little segment on Erekose tonight during his Freedom Lap tour. So he's going to call me, and we're gonna talk about him a little bit. So if you do not follow Ricky Kidd on Facebook, his Facebook page is Ricky Kidd Freed, and I think he's looking at doing it at about 8 o'clock Central tonight. Right. But that was really nice that he reached out to me and said he wanted to talk about him a little bit and share with people what he meant to the community.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that's great. So yeah, people can still donate to the, even though it is, you say it's up to 6,200 now. You know, please do keep sending donations in, because that would be nice if they could. We have had situations here in the UK where, you know, you're being able to follow somebody's funeral on say a Zoom link. Is that normally how they do them over there as well?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I'd imagine so. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Jane is to join us, so let me
You just
add Jane in. And Julie was there a moment ago and is gone, but hopefully she'll be back.
Oh yeah, I should mention that while I have everyone here. Julie is going to be working on some special merchandise for Richard to memorialize him in the Zazzle store.
Yeah.
So those items will be added as soon as she has a chance to get them up, and we'll make sure to put links everywhere. And I'm sure when you do your lives, you'll talk about them. There was so much going on. I also need to thank Julie for donating blankets to everyone or to offering to make blankets for anybody who made a donation. So she's going to be making a lot of blankets for people.
Oh,
and
God.
Henberry offered to show us some documents we have not seen if we hit 6,000, and we hit that this morning. So I hit Henberry up for that. So he agreed. He said it was a deal. He would release some never seen before documents if we hit 6,000. So
Excellent. Well, Jane, how are you doing?
Oh, I think I'm still in shock, to be honest, Paul.
Yeah.
It's just so tragic, so sad. I think I've not slept. I didn't sleep at all last night. I was in Tracy's live. I was very quiet in there because usually I'd be chatting away in the chat, but sometimes you just can't find the words. And yeah, so today's just been a very quiet day. Yes, I've been drinking my Dr. Pepper in honor of Richard.
That's why you can't sleep. That's why you can't sleep, Jane. That's why you can't
I've
sleep.
got that today, actually, Mark.
Right.
And like you, I put my T-shirt on in honor because I will cherish this T-shirt forever.
Yeah.
He was just such a force to be reckoned with. He was so passionate about everything he did, and the more you got to know him, I get upset when
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be such a big loss in this community because he was a pivotal. I think he's a big reason why a lot of us are here. And I know, sweetheart. He's a big reason. He's certainly the reason why he was one of the first people who I started watching when I first came into the scene. And he was so proud when I got my channel up and running, and he was so supportive, and he couldn't big me up enough.
It's going to be a big vacuum, you know, there's no doubt about that. We're just going to have to pull together as best we can. And, you know, and as I say, just let's do this for the dude.
He was so proud of he loved his little channel with Sharon, his little indie states, because that was his little, it was a fun, it was his chill out, you know, and it was so, you could just see how relaxed he was on there. And, you know, I know Sharon's really feeling it, and I know she's been quiet, but I think she's, you know, grieving.
Yeah.
Because she used to speak to him every single day. Mommy, and thank you. So I'm sad for everybody because I know everyone has got stories, and everyone is gonna miss him.
Well, tonight was supposed to be me and Jerome and the dude doing something for a bit of fun. You know, it's something that we'd planned. I've got all the slides all made up, you know, so hopefully I'll be able to do it again. I'll be able to do it at some point in the future. Somebody else will have to be the dude. I guess it'll.
Oh, I don't
be
know.
me.
Nobody
I don't
can
know how
be
you're going to fill them shoes.
Yeah. We've got some other supporters here that have kindly joined us, so we're going to add them in. Here's Julie, and here's
Hi, Julie.
hi Julie, hi Trav.
Hi,
Thanks for
Travis.
joining us.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Mark.
Hey. How you doing?
Mark, I want to tell you that we noticed in your video feed there's some sparkles up next to your head right here. It's just in the video, and Finn and I were saying that we'd like to pretend that's Richard. He's hanging out behind you. He's watching you.
He's been to my place here, so he could just be coming for a visit. So
He's
yeah.
definitely coming for a visit, and he said it was so pretty there. So
Yeah.
Oh, it was, yes, very. I know exactly what it is, Mark. It's because you've got it set to green screen.
I wouldn't even know how to do that, so I'm not sure what that is.
But yeah, it does it. It creates like a sparkling effect. Absolutely, yes.
All right.
And good evening, Trav. Walter.
Hey, Smokey, Mark, Tracy, Pom Pom, Jane X. Yeah, Jane's got a whole gallon of Dr. Pepper there. It looks like.
Oh, it's just poured in a big glass. I've swapped it for the gin.
Wow.
You know, I sent several people, but I sent among them Mark and Paul a personal note yesterday. You know, the British term this gobsmacked, and you know, fortunately, I had Finn and Julie attempting to contact me. I was out at the ranch, and so you know, it's hit or miss on cellular and hit and miss on Wi-Fi out there, but it's just indescribable. You know, but I returned the call when I saw the message, and yeah, you know, it said you need to call me right away. Something's happened.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be something about the case.
Yeah.
But it's a Saturday. Nothing happens on a Saturday, but it can once in a blue moon. So I called up, and Finn didn't answer. I learned out later why. Julie called, answered. She said, "Look, I'm in the middle of an appointment, but you know, are you sitting down?" And yeah, but I don't know any way to tell you other than to just tell you this. And then, you know, she told me the news, and evidently I couldn't speak for over 10 seconds. When's the last time any of you ever saw that happen? Yeah, but you know, when the last time I spoke to Richard was with Paul, and I won't go into the details of it because I was kind of acting in the capacity of lawyer, helping Richard with the project. But you remember the Paul.
Yeah.
And Richard was working on another project and trying to get that moving forward, in addition to his trip that he had scheduled in October. The beautiful thing about Richard was some of us get trapped by our own fears or anxiety. And look at something and just see something too big or too difficult to take on, but not Richard. He could look at a mountain and just decide, I'm going to take the first step, and then just start going up the mountain. And had a lot of courage, because I think he was for sure shy by nature. He got beyond that shyness, and like many of you have said, over time, he just got beyond that, just got better and better and better, and going to be sorely missed. And Paul and Mark, I know how close you were with him, and you've both been in my thoughts a lot the last. I learned, I think, I don't even know, sometime between 2 and 4 o'clock, and then I can't even remember driving back to the house, and no one was around on the messenger group that was started, and I saw that. I think I caught Paul's live about 15 minutes into it, and I really hope they can stream that service, because I'm really looking forward. Some of us were lucky to get to know a little bit about Richard McAdam, aside from Erekose and his video, and either because of in-person meetings down in Australia or at the rally or whatever, and me through many phone calls on various subjects, and hearing, talking before Thanksgiving maybe, and where are you going for Thanksgiving, or what are you doing? And I'm going to my aunt's house for Thanksgiving, and heard a lot about his aunt and his uncle, and we just spoke about his brother. Don't know if he shared this story with you, but one of the top 10 shows on Netflix right now, don't ask me why, is this game show about hot lava and jumping. Did he all tell you this story? But he we as kids, me and my brother, used to do this too. We'd jump from one piece of furniture to another and pretend the floor was hot lava, and if you hit the hot lava, you died. And I said, we did too. Me and my brother. I'm about 15 years older than Richard was, and he goes, well, there's this game show on about it, and I'm loving it. And so I really hope they can stream it, because I'd really like to see, and some of his family and friends that were outside of what he did with his 2 channels, Erekose and Doctor Who channel. But he's the perfect example of one person can make a difference, and he made a difference.
He made a big difference, very big difference, and he was like a magnet for us all, dragged us with his energy and intelligence and commitment to the cause. He was like the center of energy for this exercise from my point of view. So that's why it was so difficult to deal with him not being there, both in terms of him as a friend and also what he brought to the causes of injustice.
I really like Paul's idea about coming up with a commitment in some sort of way. And Paul talked about losing weight, but if you're haven't had a physical for a while. Try and make a commitment to having a physical. I'm not talking about this in direct relation to Richard. I don't know the circumstances, and other than it looks like his very untimely death was due to a out of the blue heart attack. I have heard that maybe it was experiencing some chest pain for the day or two prior. But, you know, Richard and I never talked about medical issues. He never described anything to me. Only thing I ever heard Richard complain about is LA traffic. And he wasn't even complaining about that the last 2 or 3 months because there, you know, really hadn't been any to speak of. But he'd get frustrated behind the wheel. And frequently that was the time for he and I, because of the time zone differences, for me to catch up with him on, you know, a project we may have been working on. But so we frequently talked when he was off work and heading home, and he'd be 15 miles from home and he, you know, had an hour and a half yet to go in his commute. You know, that's mind-boggling to some people, but not for LA. But you know, he never discussed any medical issues or anything going on. He had an active job, not like me sitting behind a desk. He did some videos on that project he was doing at that one house. Many of you will remember, and what all is involved in that. And so, you know, high school athlete on a very successful football team. But, you know, if there's anything that can be learned on that side of it, you know, you're a male and 40 year old, try and have an annual physical and get your cholesterol checked. And we obviously know already that it's a pretty good idea to quit smoking if you're smoking. And I hope we can take that, some sort of positive from that. I'm glad Paul is motivated to lose weight, and other people are motivated to focus on their health. But Paul, he ever mentioned anything to you that he wasn't feeling well in any of the time that you knew him? Just Paul there. For Mark, did he ever mention anything to you about not feeling well? I'm not talking in the past week. I'm just talking in the years that you've known him. I've never heard a complaint with him.
No, never. Never at all. I mean, it's true that you know, Richard, you know, Richard was a smoker as well, which you never really saw too much because you never saw that in the public forum too often, and he enjoyed his Dr. Pepper and other things. But I'm not here to analyse why he got to where he did in terms of his health, except to say, to echo Travis's words, to say it's really important to have yourself checked. I'm much older than Richard, and I'm always, I go and have a checkup twice a year, and have tests, significant tests at least once a year. It's one's commitment to those that you love and who love you to make sure you're well, because you can't be anything 21 unless you're alive. So irrespective of how you might feel, how strong and how what's that expression, how invincible you think you are, the truth is that you can only maintain that invincibility by being well and and having checkups is an essential part of that. And so, as I say, it's not just about how you feel for yourself; it's how you feel about those that are around you. So, and I'm sure, although I don't know, that Richard probably, in his pursuit of all other things for everyone else, probably let that part of his well-being be less than fully cared for, I suspect. But that's not to be critical. It's just to learn from it, and you know, even all of us just owe it to each other and to those that care about us to do our best to stay as healthy as possible.
Well said. And just add this, Tim, while it's on the topic. People were mentioning in the chat earlier, you know, that Richard had this focus, this tunnel vision, and you know, he was a hardworking man in his occupation. His boss mentioned that yesterday in Tracy's live. But he wasn't a wealthy man. He had to make financial choices, and one of the choices he made, he had limited vacation time, and whatever it was, 3 weeks or whatever. And Richard would always use that vacation time between, you know, that trip to Australia came up, and his boss worked with him on that, and so that took time. And then he was worried about working things out to where he had the time to rally. And he used, you know, I don't know if he had a real vacation away from everything in 4 or 5 years. Just seemed to use all of his vacation for this movement. And he was, you know, the rally didn't occur this year. And so, you know, I don't know if he had extra time and that gave him the opportunity to do something in October, but that's just another testament to how focused he was. It wasn't, you know, I'm going to Hawaii or the Bahamas, or, you know, he was trying to figure out the best way to use the limited vacation time he had to travel out of the state or out of the country. One of the things I was hoping we could do once the pandemic was over, we had talked last year about, he and I, about going to Scotland. And we had talked about it in January and February, and it kind of got put on hold for a variety of reasons. And of course, on March, it got put on a real big hold. But, you know, it's, he was just a very, very, very dedicated to this case and others. And I just, that's the one thing I really feel sad about is he still had things to do, and not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I think he's the things that he still has had to do, we need to absorb and do them for him. And if you sat Richard down and asked him what are the most important things for you that are on your horizon, they're the same issues that we all have here in terms of, you know, the pursuit of justice for Stephen and Brendan and others. So somehow we've got to help him live his dreams, and he would want that. That Richard's that type of guy. He would want that, you know. You know, you can easily mistake bombastic behavior and loudness and confidence for arrogance. That wasn't Richard at all. He was that was just the echo chamber through which he disseminated his thoughts and views. And deep down, he's just a young man trying to do his best for others. That's what Richard was, and he was larger than life, and his legacy for me will be not to be afraid to speak out, so long as you speak out respectfully and thoughtfully, and accept if you do say things that you wish you hadn't, to admit them, and which hopefully wouldn't be too often, but sometimes it can happen. And so I think there's much for us to learn about Richard and take his wishes for what might have otherwise been the rest of his life, and live it for him in some way or another. I'm sure collectively we can do that. Hi, Diane.
Hello.
So,
You're right. I'm hopefully going to be a bit more coherent today when I say something. I got a bit upset yesterday when I came onto the live, on Tracy's live. But I just wanted to pop in and say hello, and that I've been working busy all day today, but I have been thinking about Richard on and off. So I just wanted to check in, see if all you guys were okay. And just to say as well that I'm really not surprised with the response from the fundraiser for Richard. Like, I knew as soon as it was mentioned that there would be this kind of a response for him, because he was such an incredible part of this community, and I think that just shows in the response that we've had for him as a big family. And like, I think that's just testament to who he was. I wish that I'd have known him for longer. I was lucky enough to speak to him a couple of times, and like they said yesterday, he encouraged Linda to go on and do her lives, who then encouraged Jane and myself to do ours. And if it wasn't for people like him, the injustice that happens, that we're all here for, would be left under the stones. So, God bless him, and I hope he's peaceful. I'm sure he is.
Yeah. Julie Pom Pom, sitting down there in the corner. You live near. Well, you're in the same world as Richard.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you something that you can't do, but I was just wondering, since we have you on the channel here, whether there was any possibility that you'd be going to Richard's funeral.
I will definitely be going, and I will make sure to keep everybody updated once we have information from the family on services. And I also tweeted that if anybody wants me to bring anything to give to the family, get in touch with me, and I will give you an address, or if I need to print things out and bring them, just let me know, and I will make sure to get it there. But I will be there. Cody and I will both.
That's great. Yeah. It's not too often that a group like us get together, and it's hard to have a conversation. I think that just illustrates how important Richard was to us all. So, and I'm sure time is going to help heal this for us, and redouble the energy we need to carry on Richard's legacy. And
can I just ask everybody to give us their sort of favorite Erekose story, for want of a better word?
Oh God, I'm thinking. Paul, how about you start?
I think it's really.
Yeah.
Here we
It's
go.
really difficult to pick, isn't it? Because he's such a, he's such a character. And I think for me, my favourite parts about him is his laugh. Like, I mean, obviously, like, his determination is great, but his laugh always made me laugh. No matter what he was laughing at, it just made me happy because, I think it's just a cracking laugh. Yeah.
Well, Stacey brought it up in the chat. You remember when we were in Australia and he would always sit in the front seat, front passengers. Yeah. Every time he got in the car, you started driving off. We have to shout, seatbelt. Every time.
I must admit that one of those moments in Australia were very special, and the driving to Sydney that day, and we had the radio or this, I guess, Stacey's music on. I forget what we had on, or AC/DC. I don't know what we were playing, but the four of us just, well, three of us were probably out of tune, but one, thank God Stacey was there. But that didn't matter. We all thought we were rock stars at that moment. So.
Can you remember when Stacey sang along with his own songs and then he was rapping over the top of them?
That's right. Yeah.
That was great.
So yeah, they're good moments. They're good moments. And I also love how bold he was with the banner. He will unfurl that banner no matter where he could. So that was always quite entertaining. So.
Well, I must admit, coming back from having been sent to the bar to get what was it? Had to get, was it 2 beers and 2 soft drinks? Because was it 4 beers? I can't remember whatever it was. And I'm coming back, and there's all these security men, and it's like, what are they doing here? I wonder what's happened. I'm only discovering that the dude and Stacey were nearly arrested. That was classic.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. We've got
Diane. You go ahead. Diane was just about to tell us an example of something. Oh, she mentioned his laugh, I guess. So yeah.
I'm gonna just drop out a moment. Hopefully Tracy will be added back in again.
Let me drop out. You can carry on. I'm just going to carry on and listen, so you can stay, Paul. Oh. But I'll go into the background so you can let her back in. All right.
Well, yeah, but I'll also need to drop out because we've got Tracy and Steve. So I'm going to drop out first. Let me do this first of all. I honestly thought I got an update to say that I could have 10 people in the chat, but I think I've got that wrong in that you can only.
Whoa. Well, he didn't finish that thought. I had some great times with Paul and Richard, over Captain Crunch. And why they were so memorable is we'd be doing the case, something on the case, week or two. Stuff was coming out legally, and it was a lot of reading and a lot of analysis, and just not fun stuff. Reading legal pleadings and trying to digest them into understandable terms and phrases. But every once in a while, Richard do something on his Doctor Who channel, his auxiliary channel, on Captain Crunch, and it was just the right time for a little levity, and the right time to sit back and laugh at yourself. The one that he got Mark in as a judge.
Yeah. That's right. Judge Wilcox.
Oh, man.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, how are you? So I wanted to add in, there was a great topic about you guys talking about, Travis was talking about his vacations. And as you know, I'm his boss for over 10 years. And one of the things we fought about constantly was Richard taking time for himself, and he wouldn't do it. He wanted to be with you guys. The things he wanted to do was do your shows and your events. You can't see me because my camera's damaged, so sorry. I've never used this before ever, and it has goo all over it from the black tape I put on it, so nobody would spy on me. So, anyways, so we had many arguments about, Rich, you need to take time for yourself. You need to, he would race home, as Travis said. He'd be talking to Travis or Pom Pom or Tracy in traffic, and it's 15 miles, 20 miles from my office to his house, but it's an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to work. And he would sit in that traffic talking to Travis. I know, because I watched him walk out the door talking to Travis many times. And he couldn't, he didn't want to be anywhere else but with you guys.
Yeah.
Funny, Steve, and I'm really glad you're here. We started talking about, and he would never betray the confidences of of the customers and whatnot, but he mentioned, yeah, my boss, I told him, as kids, we had property out in the Lancaster area and would ride our motorcycles and whatnot. My dad would take us when we were much younger and living in LA. And he said, oh, my boss bought some property out in the desert, and he goes out there and that's his way to relax. And I said, well, Richard, you really should take note of that whatever it is that where you can get away from it all, we all need that little recharge. But
I tried to drag him out many times out there and just get him to relax. Guess what he was doing on his phone the whole time he would be out at the desert? Paul, Travis, Mark, Pom Pom, all you guys were he just wouldn't stop. I'd say, Richard, sit down, have a beer, just take it off of your shoulders. And it gave him purpose. You guys changed his life and gave him purpose.
Steve, I had the pleasure of meeting you in a bar in Los Angeles with Richard. I don't know how long ago now, maybe 2 years. And I really enjoyed catching up with you and understanding a little bit about Richard's life, work in a work environment. So I think we've tried to catch up a couple of times since, but that hasn't happened. But I know.
Pleasure was all mine, Mark. The pleasure was all mine.
Thank you. And I know Richard loved his work. It was his thing. He loved the technical side of what his work involved, and even though I'm sure you had your debates over holidays and days off, etc., I know he really enjoyed working for you. Well,
you've seen him. I heard you guys talk about driving. You're also lucky you didn't let him get behind the wheel. You're absolutely blessed that you didn't let that happen. And you're right. He did love his work. He was enamored by it when he first got into it. He was an electrician before, and he started learning this technology stuff. But it was kind of like bringing Paul Bunyan into playing with very fine toys. He was big, and I would have to tell my clients. I'd always say, well, who are you sending out? I would say, well, I'm sending Rich. And if they've never met him before, I'd say, well, he's just a big, jolly guy. You'll like him because he's intimidating, He's a massive man, and we work in privileged area here on the west side of Los Angeles. So a lot of our people we work for, he's intimidating to them.
He comes with his own security, right? That's
he does. It's built in. Nobody messed with him when I sent him to the hood.
Yeah.
So I'll be also going to the funeral as well. I'm sure once I get notice of it all.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Yeah. So let's, in terms of you, Steve, somehow we'll stay connected through this process. So
Pom Pom has my email, so she'll share it with you. She's more. you're more than welcome to all to have my email if you'd like to stay in touch.
Yeah.
And if you're coming through LAX, I'll be more than happy to take you to a greasy spoon.
I would love that. I would love that indeed. So yeah, if they'd let me out of the country, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to leave. So I'm incarcerated.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I'll let you guys carry on. You can knock me out again. I'll let you guys all join in.
Okay. All the best, Steve. Take care.
You. Cheers.
Tracy, what about you, my dear? What a sort of a favourite moment with Richard that comes to mind amidst thousands, probably.
Yeah, I honestly can't pick out a favorite moment. Although I will say that the video at the rally, or the online rally, with him bending over and then Paul making the joke about what did he say? You crack me up. when Richard had a little butt crack showing there, that made me laugh so much. But I can't seem disingenuous, because I know Richard would hate that. I did not have the same relationship with him that like you and Paul do, and Sharon. You guys are really close to him. He and I butted heads a lot. I'm not gonna lie, but and I probably drove him crazy. I know he drove me crazy sometimes, but I never doubted his commitment, his passion. We always had the same end goal. You know, it's just we sometimes butted heads on how to get there. But the thing about that is that he and I could get really frustrated with each other, and we'd be kind of like going back and forth in a chat, and we both kind of not leave the chat, but just like end it in a huff. And then half hour later, he'll be messaging me about something else, that acting like nothing even happened, and we're fine. You know, so I think Richard has, yeah. What was that?
I was saying that attitude, that ability to quickly reconcile what inevitably are minor things, is a wonderful trait to have.
That's what it is. In the moment, sometimes it seemed like it was a big deal, but it never was, and we always just got through it, and we worked our way through it. I think that I know that we both had a mutual respect for each other. I think that Richard really appreciated it when I came on his lives and added to them with the legal stuff, since that wasn't always his strong suit. And he just loved talking about the case. He loved talking. He loved sharing with people. I just want to say this is kind of ongoing right now, but you guys might know, because you're really close to him, but Richard was working on something that is pretty big. It doesn't have to do with making a murderer, has to do with something else. And as a tribute to Richard, we really want to get that out and share with people. And we want to do it from his channel. So we're going to try to figure that out. The information is being sent to me, and I'm going to put it all together. And then hopefully, if necessary, Julie can even go up there and upload it to his channel or something, so that we can get it out and he gets the credit he deserves, because he uncovered something that nobody thought was available. And it's kind of a big deal. Ripper actually has some of the information. I'm getting some from him. His aunt Sherry has some stuff, and Sherry, if you're listening, I sent you a PM. So I think that is a great thing that we can do for him when he was so passionate about seeking truth and justice. The fact that he dug up something that nobody else did, and I know that he was really excited about it, and it's just sad that he's not going to get to share his excitement about it, but we can still share his information.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. I'm going to have to leave this chat now. I have something I must do. I apologize, but I just wanted to once again express my thanks to everyone here and everyone on the chat for their support of Richard, and for the contribution they made to his life through being engaged with his enthusiasm. And I know for sure that, you know, he may not be around for us to say hello to, but he's always around. And I feel him around all the time. So my mission now is to make sure I can take a part of his legacy and push it forward for him, as I know he would do for any one of us in like circumstances. So anyway, thank you for everyone for what you've done for him, especially in the last 24 hours. As a close friend to Richard, I'm very grateful for that. So, all right, well,
Thanks.
we'll
Thanks.
talk again soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Mark.
All the
Thank
best.
you, Mark. Thanks, Mark, for your great words. And my thoughts are with you.
Thank you, everyone. All the best.
Yeah, bye, Mark.
Bye.
Thank you. I just
Tracy?
want to say one more. I just want to say one more thing before I forget. Just because I did say obviously that Rich and I butted heads, but I don't want to make sure people don't have the wrong impression. I am I'm completely devastated.
Yeah.
I'm actually sad that I'm not going to have him around to butt heads with on some of these issues and to debate with and talk with. And it has hit me so hard. And I know I'm not alone in that. But, so even though I said that I didn't have the same relationship, I fought in the trenches with him in this battle for 4 years. And I'm going to miss him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to miss him. And my heart's broken. Sorry. Every time I'm good until I start getting talk about my feelings about it. Then I always start crying.
Yeah, and I listen. I quite understand. It's as I was saying earlier. It's one of these things whereby you're supposed to be able to say goodbye to somebody properly and not to have that opportunity taken away, and it's just so sudden, and it seems so strange. 44 years old and what, a couple of months, 3 months. That's it's nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah.
When's the last time you spoke to him, Paul? I mean, other than on a public chat, when was the last time you spoke to him?
Literally, the last time I spoke to him was Friday, because Tracy, you wanted to know what the number of people that had tuned into Mamathon was, and I said 51, and I was going to also add the reason I remember that is because one of those 51 was Morocco, and that was because
You said number of people, but you meant number of countries, right?
Sorry, number of countries, people in different countries. That's right. And I remember telling the dude, that it's 51, and as I said, the one was Morocco because that's when I was in Marrakesh. So, but yeah, I'd actually said to him, could you check on your last segment of the Mamathon, the first one, and see what your analytics were on that to see if you've got the number for the number of different countries that had tuned in to watch and listen, and I'm sure it was 51.
How long ago was it when the three of us spoke about that project?
Yeah, I would say that was 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah,
it was certainly the weekend. Anyway, it was a weekend. And the other thing, it was on Friday. As I say, I was trying to put together for Jerome and me and the dude to do something, just a bit of fun, to do with. You remember he started going on about that other thing, the Ultimate Beastmaster.
I don't know if I caught that. What is that?
It's a show on Netflix that's very popular. Where these athletes, they have to complete an obstacle course, which basically involves a lot of upper body strength in order to hang on to various things. And if you don't hang on, then you fall in the water, and that's you out the competition. And there were some amazing parkour athletes, as they're called. Now he wasn't on about going on to entering himself, but he was saying how much he enjoyed the show. So I put together a little quiz for him to have a go at.
Yeah, he was all lit up about that hot lava show or whatever it's called on Netflix, and how he and his brother played that when they were little, and me and my brother played it when we were little. And he goes, "Don't ask me to explain why," he says, "but I really like the show." And it's a top 10 Netflix. So he's not the only one. Yeah, he did like those shows. What was he going to do with the Beastmaster thing? Was he going to just talk about it, or what was he going to do?
It was actually, as I say, it was me that was going to do the a quiz to do with the show that I put together. That was going to be a bit of fun. I mean, look, I probably will still do that because it was, as I say, it was something that I had put together, and we were aiming to do it tonight because it's just gone 11 o'clock here in the borders. So yeah, I'll still do that.
Paul, how did people that saw you and Richard interact on lives? You would frequently slip in something to broaden Richard's horizons. It could be, for example, that Roman aqueduct behind you, and you would ask Richard, you know what this is behind me? But how did that start? And you did it in a number of different areas, broadening. That's what I call it. We're constantly doing things to ask him and to get him to broaden his horizons. What was the origin of that? How did that start?
Well, it was very much the trip to Australia, because to begin with, when Mark suggested it, the dude was actually reluctant at first. I could sense a certain amount of reluctance, and I think it was for various reasons. One, because as we've already discussed, he wasn't sure that he could get a week off work. And two, two was the fact that he was going to have to try and sort out his passport, which was a major headache, and only got sorted out at the very, very last minute. And he was even concerned about going to Australia because the Megan from the Scott Davis case, Megan Bruton, is in Australia, and he actually thought that if she knew that he was in Australia, she would somehow get the police to arrest him or something. I don't know, but he had concerns on a few different levels, and I think living in California, the furthest that the only foreign country he'd ever been to was Mexico, and of course in Mexico, when you go and buy something, they're quite happy to take payment in dollars. US dollars. I think, am I not right in saying that they actually, they would prefer some countries prefer US dollars to their own currency.
Absolutely.
So it was Mark that kind of pointed out, that, well, the pair of us were both in agreement. We were definitely going to be taking him out of his comfort zone and into something completely different. And yeah, that's really what it was. As you say,
I remember that video. Now that you say it, you started asking him questions. Dude, how many territories or provinces or states are there in Australia?
Yeah.
What is the capital of Australia? Yeah. And it was amazing how many people who did not know, besides our buddy, what the capital Australia is. What is the what do they call the currency in Australia? But you had so many questions, and I had forgotten about that. But obviously great advice that if you're going to travel to a foreign country, that you're a little bit you have a little bit of background info on where you're going. Yeah.
Yeah. What also was I think the first sign that that his shall we say his world knowledge was limited, and I used to make fun of him on videos and stuff, but I also used to point out I'm not really taking I do realize that America is a huge country. In fact, really, it's 52 states, and each state
50 states,
50 states, and each state is like a separate country. Texas is massive, isn't it? Even Wisconsin is like the size of Scotland. These are huge countries. You've got 50 of them, that are called the United States of America. So, if he's traveled to half a dozen different states, that in itself is like going to half a dozen different countries. But of course, the first thing that really confused was the difference between Dutch and Danish. A lot of people think that if you're Danish, you speak Dutch, whereas in fact, of course, it's two different countries. So that's where it kind of started. Was just a little bit of European geography was understandandably confusing, but we did used to myself and Mark in particular, because I mean Mark's traveled so many different countries. He really does know a lot of these. He's been to so. I think he came up with a list of 20 or 30 different countries that he's been to, which is pretty impressive.
Now, how did you get into doing videos on your own? Was that largely like some of our other friends that Richard encouraged you to do that, or how did it come to be that you had your own channel and started doing your own videos?
Quite simply, the fact that as I'm sure everybody's aware, if you put a post on a Facebook page, it's like the old saying that today's news is tomorrow's paper. I noticed because you've got 60,000 whatever number of subscribers to a Facebook group. You can post something, and then within a day it's forgotten about. And I just wanted something a bit more permanent. So that's when I thought I should really do a video and put down my thoughts on this case so that I can look back to it. And that's when I was regularly chatting with the dude at the time, just chatting Messenger and commenting on videos. And that's when as I say, I did my video, and I said, I'll just do this one because I really just wanted to put stuff down, thoughts and observations on the case. And he replied with the fact that, I quite understand, but it would be good if you could do some more, and that's when one of the other supporters, Tiffany Harpin, she complained on my first video that I wasn't wearing the dicky bow. so then I had to do another video with me wearing the dicky bow, but I said that I will do another video wearing the dicky bow on the understanding and on the condition that the dude does a video wearing his kilt. That's where when we he decided that he would do a video of him wearing the kilt in order to encourage people to just to do a short video. Even if it's just a minute-long video. He actually did a video showing people how to get your iPhone or whatever, put it on a table, put something behind it, press play, press record, do a video. In fact, one of the best suggestions he said was that if some of you are not that knowledgeable on technology, ask a son or a daughter or a nephew or a niece who will happily show you how to operate these these smartphones. And that's how Mark got on board. He did a little video, took the bull by the horns, and obviously, I mean, we were like really impressed when Mark came out with his first video, and it just developed from there. To be honest, Trav,
Now, my understanding is you were the one that encouraged him strongly to wear a shirt and tie.
Yeah.
And, you know, people don't understand in the UK, a teacher, which Mark is of music, a teacher is still very much thought of as a profession. And I imagine you wear a shirt and tie every day to teach, or no?
I would say that because I'm I know Fen loves this term, peripatetic music teacher, that often I do, because I would say that, you know, most of the pupils I go to, I'm like not just friends of the children I teach, but the mums and dads, you know. It can be very much more relaxed. So therefore I can, you know,
But you perform live and do shows with the accordion, and your performances, I'm sure you wear a coat and tie.
Well, yeah. I mean, what I did was I actually sent him one of my tartan ties that was given to me actually by the drummer who had passed away just literally a couple of months before, in the January, before I watched Making a Murderer in the in the February, March, and I sent him the tie partly because of the the fact that he said he'd got this kilt, and he said, you know, what would I wear with it, you know? And I said, well, you know, a tartan tie would do the job. So I sent him the tie, and I mean, look, it's, for me, it's, yeah, it's maybe an image thing.
Well, no, there's no question that you take on a little different persona, you, the collective you, everybody, but Richard's no exception. When he wore his white shirt and his tie, you expected that, you know, this was maybe going to be a more important thing than, you know, the typical supporter shirt. And, you know, he got the tie from Mammothon, and but I just wondered what the story was on that. He mentioned that you encouraged him to wear a shirt and tie on important things, and I just wondered what the background of that was.
Just my own sort of personal, as you say, personal experience of you know, if I would say, if I'm going, certainly whenever I went anywhere as an examiner or as an adjudicator at a music event, then, you know, that was a given. You would wear, you know, a shirt and tie and a jacket, you know, because you really did want to you know, look the part, as it were. I mean, Julie, I'm going to be interested to see what you come up with as far as a tie for the dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put one together, and I wanted to talk to you, Paul, and I want to talk to his family and see if we can come up with something that's very meaningful, that's gonna work well. But it'll be important, so don't get impatient with me, everybody. If I don't have one very quickly, I want to make sure that it's
So, Paul, the last question I had for you,
sure,
relating to Richard, in the last 6 months or so, you've really mastered and latched on to the science and background behind false confessions, establishing relationships with the top 2 or 3 people in that field, either via email correspondence and opening up a dialogue, or, you know, having Dr. Leo on your helping work that out, and doing live with Dr. Leo and soliciting questions. So how how did you and Richard, if at all, but how did you kind of work out topics that you were going to talk about and what you were going to dive into? How did that work?
You know, it's funny because I do remember the one time he got really exasperated with me was when I told him that I've got a load of supporters lined up that want to come and do a live chat with you, you know, and there was about 3 or 4 of them lined up, and he was you know, he appreciated the fact that, you know, it was, you know, my way of trying to help him, but yeah, he was. He was a bit knocked. He was mumping a bit that day when I got in touch with him and said, you know, I've got you know, X, Y, and Z all lined up, ready to come on and do a chat with you. So yeah, I mean, some of it was at times it was almost like a little bit like sort of older brother bullying, you know, dude, you know, need to do this, need to do that. What he was always very good at was, if I could sometimes get in touch with him and say, look, I'm thinking of going live in about 30 minutes. Could you join me? And he would be there. He'd say, sure. You know, and that was, you know, and if he couldn't because there was something else on, you know, he'd say, you know, well, can we schedule it for another time? You know, very good in that respect. Always keen to have a bit of a chat. Always good. I think he quite liked the banter, as we call it, the crack, or the, you know, the sort of mock, taking the mick out of one another, you know. Any opportunity he had to play that clip of Eunice, you know, talking about Havering, he would play it to anybody ad infinitum, wouldn't he? You know, constant.
Oh, I love that clip.
No,
when I hear that clip, I just think of you and Richard. I don't know if you have it handy, but I mean that clip, something else. You know, now the more recent one is. Did you see his video where, in relation to Eagle Nation, and he's kind of, you know, speaking to that one officer, is it Hoffer?
Yeah.
And he's kind of throwing down the gauntlet and, you know, says, you know, do you have any? And, you know, just hysterical. I think even Finn prepared a clip of it, but that Havering, no, it's you. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just a connection to me hearing that clip, and you'd pull it out at the greatest times to when Richard was saying something or ranting about something, and you'd pull that clip out and play it, or even if he wasn't there, you know, it was just great. You know, wonderful. I don't know if he told you, but you know, the kind of the history was, we were talking about going over to the UK and doing an event, and you know, it started a couple of years ago, and then we looked at, okay, well, we'll do it. It would have been this calendar year.
Yeah.
And you know, he said, well, I don't know about the time, and I said, well, get the time, and then, you know, I'll figure out the logistics, and we'll do that. And we'd actually even talked about it the year before, but then the Australia trip came up, and then obviously there wasn't going to be enough time. But you know, I just always had that in the back. You know, I wanted to take him to Isla, and I wanted to take him around and show him a few places, plus have you take us around and you know, do 1 or 2 events, and you know, oh well. But
yeah, I know,
you know,
I mean, it would have been, I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? You sort of look forward to all these things, and you start, getting these sort of plans in place, and then something like this comes along, and it just knocks everything off, doesn't it? It's just.
Well, I gotta figure. I'm gonna leave here in a second, but thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for being a wonderful brother, really, to Richard. And but I really appreciated your comment about losing weight. And I've got to think of something I'm going to do related to health to try and make a positive, but and not directly related to Richard at all. I'm like Mark. I get my physicals and checkups right on schedule. I'm blessed to have really, really good health insurance, and then whatever that doesn't cover, we have access. We call it a concierge doctor in the U.S.
Right.
That provides, and they have that in the UK too. If you don't want the national medicine, you can pay extra to have someone got very limited number of patients to look at you. So I'm blessed that way, and I think it's important. Not everybody has great insurance or has insurance at all, but I'm going to come up with something on exercise, I think, and I'm going to post where you've given me the inspiration to post on that regularly, but appreciate that. I'm sure you have other people want to come in and say hello or whatever, but Tracy, Julie, Finn, and Paul, and Mark, and Linda, and Stacy, and Jamie, and Millbilly, just on and on and on. You must have inundated, probably just the understatement of the year on the number of emails and people reaching out to you. I just know that there are a lot of people hurting, and for you yesterday to do that initial one, and then Tracy to follow up, and you doing it again is really, really nice, because this people need this. They really, really need this, because that's how we communicate, and how this family communicated. And so I really appreciate you doing that. And let me ask you one last question before we go. So you were going to take over, become the head of, it's not the Grand Poobah in that one, but you're going to become the top level for that men's service organization. And then I think you actually even announced that you were going to have to pull back a little bit because of the responsibilities of that. And then I think that's when the pandemic hit, right? So has that just been on hold, or where's that at?
We have no idea. As far as me sort of moving up to the next level, obviously that won't maybe be till next year. What would have been this year, everything's been put on hold for the year. So we wait and see exactly what happens in that regard. Obviously, the sort of the people that are involved in these circles, we're lucky in that we have a lot of young members, but even then, we've got a lot of elderly members that need to take extra care. But also, even some of the younger members have got health issues that means that they have to take care. So it's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty disrupted. I don't think it's going to be a case of everything's going to get put back in place soon. So I'm afraid you're probably going to have to put up with me for a while yet.
Yeah. So the last telephone conversation I had with Richard, he was talking about the October plans and so on and so forth. And I really didn't want him to go. And I told him that. I said, Richard, I really admire you for wanting to go out and do the timing, and you have the time to do it with work and whatnot. But why the rush? And I'm kind of struggling with that. Richard was never, once, like you said, the trepidation about that, long international trip. That's a big first international trip outside of crossing the border into Tijuana. That's a major big step. But once you got over the trepidation, you're full bore over there. Let's take the banner here. Let's take the banner there. And that even gave him, the fortitude to do it in the LA area. Let's take the banner here. And Julie was part of that, and saw, well, yeah, we could do that in Australia, we could do that in the US, but
absolutely.
I've just been struggling with that's one of the last conversations I had with him was you should back off of that. There's no rush, but in hindsight there was a rush, and wasn't quick enough. But it's just one of the things I've got to process that I haven't had time. It's just something popped in my head. Sorry to ramble, but just remembered that he was excited about going and what he was going to try and do, and asked for some input on one or two very minor things in Madison. And it's kind of like, well, plenty of time. Hold off.
Well, it's that's not going to happen now. But I was more concerned with if he was driving about on roads that were icy, snowy, and he's never ever had the experience of that in Southern California. I did say, make sure you get a car, an SUV with plenty of ground clearance. And
he said no, it's before the snow, and I'm like,
it can be.
You better check with Tracy, because I've been, not necessarily Wisconsin, but I've been up in the Northwest in October, and I've seen snow and ice in October. I don't know how it is there, Tracy, but I didn't even think about that. Once you survive the airplane trip, and whoever's on the plane, that then you get there in inclement weather. But Southern Californians, there's a ski area. It's called Big Bear, and top of the San Bernardino Mountains, and it's an hour and a half from downtown LA, traffic being equal and whatnot. But you can be up skiing, and Angelinos are notorious for getting up there into the snow and not having the first clue on what to do, and no chains. They don't even know what a chain is. Obviously they don't have winter tires, but it's not a good thing. it's not even a good thing, and Julie will attest to this, it's not even a good thing when it rains in Southern California to have people driving. It's just really not a good combo.
Oh my gosh, if something's coming out of the sky, people lose their damn minds. They do not know how to handle it. Absolutely right.
Well, thanks, Trav. Thank you very much. Tracy.
Thank you. I'm going to sign off for now. Cheers, Paul. If you need anything, anytime, you can get a hold of me.
Cheers, buddy. Cheers.
Okay.
But before Tracy starts talking, Paul, Sharon sent you a picture through Messenger. If you could share it with everybody so they can see the huge smile on Richard's face when he was talking about the cute little Dalek that Sharon made for him on his Doctor Who channel. And he's just smiling so big and he looks so happy.
I'll see if I can get hold of that.
She
I was going to ask
you on Messenger.
Okay, lovely. Tracy, what's the latest as far as the GoFundMe?
$6,747. Right? No, $6,742. There we go.
Yeah.
So we only need, we need less than 300 to get to $7,000. So I think we can do that. I don't have much more to offer. I'm already committed to doing a full video on KZ's reply if we hit 5,000. I got Henberry to offer up some documents for 6,000. I don't know what we're going to do. Have to offer for 7,000.
Justice agrees.
Yes.
I offered blankets.
Yep, Julie made blankets. Linda offered some of her paintings for donations.
If you donate $50 and you email me, I will send you a blanket.
If you donate $50, email Julie, and she will make a blanket for you. She's going to be making a lot of blankets. This is why she's crocheting during the live stream.
Hopefully I'll have them done before.
Julie, you don't have to specify who the blankets are for. They could be for white mice. So they could be just very small ones.
That's true. They could be small.
Exactly. So does everybody want to see this photograph? I am familiar with this photo.
Okay.
Yes. I've seen it. Yeah. Here we go. I need to do this. And hold on a sec. Where is it? Just one moment. Let me start that again. Sorry. Let me start this again. Let me get the picture up first. Oh, there it is. Is that going to work? You never know your luck. Yes, something's happening.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. Julie posted that in the chat before. Very cute.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
He's so happy.
Look at that smile. He's so happy. And I knew he was getting that. Sharon told me about it before she had sent it to him. And so I was looking forward to him getting it. I knew he was going to love it.
That's so great.
Can you remember that stupid koala bear hanging on the tree that he got? And he put together, and he kept that as a little trophy. He got that actually. It was at Sydney Opera House that he got that little Lego model, and then put it together. Oh dear, the abuse he got for that one was brilliant.
So Paul, you've asked everyone else. So what's your favorite memory? Did you already share it?
Oh well, too many obviously.
That's tough question.
Certainly, the seatbelt carry on in Australia was funny. I would say that the funniest, and everybody's seen it, was doing my Scottish country dancing, doing the Eva 3-step with Ali and Denise, and was it the gate? No, it was one of those. And every time I went past him, because everybody knows I don't swear. I never ever swear, but as soon as I got up to him, F off, dude. and, it was, and it was just the fact that, you know, can you Julie, were you still up at that time? I think you were watching, wasn't it? And was it you?
She was on the couch with Cody, I think, watching the whole thing.
Yeah, we were on the couch.
Yeah, I think on the couple of occasions when we went past and I forgot, you know, it was pointed out to me, you forgot to say the F off, dude. Oh, that was that. I mean, look, the whole crunch stuff was very, very funny, particularly when he discovered that I had actually asked one of my pupils, just literally, I got the sense from Mark that it was close. He said that, look, that the voting is close on this thing, you know. So I knew I was going to have to do something. So I said to my pupil, you know, have you ever been to America? Yeah. Have you ever had Captain Crunch? I have. That's when I said, oh well, then here you go, you know. And just that whole debate, it was constant back and forward every day, arguing about it, and I would even send him stuff that he could use to counter argue against me. You know, because for me that was one of the interesting things, I suppose, about the debate was the fact that you can adopt a particular standpoint, and then you can twist things to make it seem as if, well, that's right, can't you? You know, in the same way that the bad actors in Wisconsin have twisted things the way they have. So for me, it was all a bit of fun.
We even created a channel in Discord for it.
Oh, that's right. Yes, absolutely.
With voting and everything.
Yeah, what was really good was, for example, when I had the Big Jeff from Foul Play came on for a chat, and he'd actually prepared. He'd actually come on with the slides prepared to say, "Well, you're both wrong. He's French," and that's something that Linda's been saying now for ever since it started off. But yeah, it's just so many. So many laughs, often at him, but not really in a derogatory way at all. It was always in good fun, and vice versa. You know, as I used to say to a lot of people, you know, if you're on the other side and you want to leave derogatory comments, you're going to have to come up with something good. You're going to have to come up with something very good to match some of the stuff that the dude has said to me in the past. So, you know, make sure you come with something good, because, you know, it's water off a duck's back when you're trying to, you know, provoke me with the stuff they say.
It's always said with love, though. Always said with love.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's still only just over 24 hours, isn't it? It's you know, it's going to be in the days and the weeks and the months ahead. There's going to be times, I think, when we're going to slip and we're going to say, "Oh, I need to get in touch with the dude about this," and you're suddenly going to remember. You know, it's suddenly going to kick in. I can't contact him. I can't. I mean, I tell you, I actually, knowing full well that you know, I'm not going to get a response on his messenger page, I still left him a message. You know, because you know, just you know, you might be gone, but you'll never be forgotten. Kind of message.
Right, and that's why I said that there's such a big void, just because we were so used to having him in our living rooms, or, you know, whatever, for 4 times a week, probably sometimes, you know, And so for that to be just gone is something I'm really struggling with. It's just like, he's just that friend that's always there, you know? And now I'm not going to be getting those notifications anymore that he's going live. And, you know, we're not going to be able to do that. And that's the stuff that's really hard. It's the stuff that you miss. So hard to explain, but you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Well, we're going to experience it, aren't we? That's
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. You know what what I'm really proud of, though, is the fact that we've built a community that is so strong that, you know, even though the dude has left us, you know, we're, you know, obviously we're going to carry on. Definitely, we know it's if anything, it's going to make us even more resolute to you know, to try and expose. You know, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. It's not as if making YouTube videos is directly going to see Stephen Brendan released or wrongful convictions end, but it sure as hell makes it uncomfortable for the other people, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's just highlighting stuff, and that's just gonna carry on. It's not gonna. Yeah, it's disappointing. Very, very sad.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing. I'm laughing at
Yeah.
Henberry in the chat. Henberry's in the chat, and he said, "I hear I have a debt to settle."
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yes, you
Yeah.
do. What do you got for us?
Yeah. But no, it's just
Make it
make it 7K. Yeah, nearly there, Henry. Nearly there.
Yeah, we're pushing for 7K. We just got another $50, I think.
Yeah,
so.
$208, and we'll have 7,000.
$208 away from 7,000. We can do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we totally can.
And then we'll get Henberry to spill.
Absolutely. But no, it's just a great community that we've got. You know, as you were saying, you know, that I mean, look, I remember having conversations with you where I've queried certain aspects of, you know, the legal system, you know, and yeah, you know, we're not always going to see eye to eye on certain things, you know, and you know, you're going to have to, you know, present this is maybe what the courts are going to do. This is maybe what's going to happen in this case, etc., etc. But you know, we're very much a great group of supporters, and I think to raise that kind of money in, well, what is it now? Is it been 24 hours since the GoFundMe has been up?
Less than 24 hours.
Close, because I went live at 5:30 yesterday, and it's 5:50 now. But the GoFundMe was not up when I started, but it probably went up about after the first hour, maybe. So soon. It's almost 24 hours, and this is as much money as we raised for Mamathon, and that was for an entire weekend.
Yeah,
you know, so it's just a testament to how many people he touched, how many lives he touched.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, I must admit, when it was said about 6,000, I thought, well, that's going to be, you know, that's going to be, you know, it's going to take a while to get there.
Never underestimate my ability to bully people into giving money.
You know what, Paul? That's what we thought about Mamathon too. And
I know. I remember thinking, you know, because I wasn't even sure about, you know, the idea of, you know, asking people to donate, and then it was going to be $1,000, and then $2,000, and then what was it, 4,000?
4,000.
Yeah.
And then we ended up over 6,000.
Yeah. You know, it's there are some there are everybody out there, everybody that supports this course, that they are all great supporters, you know, and whether you're an Erekose or whether you're somebody that just tunes in to watch the videos, you know, everybody is so important in all of this. everybody is equally valued. But yeah, he was somebody that everybody obviously. He was at times he was a bit of a central hub, wasn't he? You know, people would get in touch with him about stuff.
Yeah, I think I talked about that last night, how he seemed to be friends with all different, groups within the community that don't normally cross paths, but he kind of, was kind of like the center of that. He was the hub, like you said, of all the information, talking to all different people from all different areas and putting it all together. Yeah, definitely.
And he was so supportive of everybody else when they decided to put their own touch into the community and the cause. Like Fen was just saying, he was so encouraging when she told him about 80 More Things, the podcast, and he had us on to talk about it, and we were on your channel and we talked about it. And then when I put up workwithkz.com, he had me come on and talk about it, and he's always been so supportive of everybody else joining in and contributing to it.
Yeah, and I mean, even though he's not with us, it'll still be motivation from him, won't it?
Fen was talking about the Twitter series, the 80 Days of 80 More Things, before Raleigh, when she was doing, every day she would talk about one of the things that was questionable about the case, and it was the 80 Days of 80 More Things, and there were about 80 days until the rally, and it led up to the rally, and then Denise made that big sign with all of the 80 things on it, and it was so amazing. And a lot of the things were from his videos, and then Fen decided to do the podcast, and all of it, he was so encouraging and he was so supportive, and he was really everybody's cheerleader. He was.
Yes. Yeah. No, I still remember it was number 63 is my favorite, the one that I always go on about. I think that the control question was number 1.
I think so. I don't remember, Fen.
It was certainly of the 80 days. It was the last one, wasn't it? You got to like a final sort of, almost like a countdown with the top 10.
Yes, day 1 was the control question. Yep.
Listen, do you know what? It's nearly 3 hours. This has been like a marathon. I'm going to have to say cheerio as well, because it is just coming up for midnight, and I've also got to work first thing in the morning. So, Julie, thanks for joining us. Tracy, thanks for joining us. Everybody else that's joined, we started off with Stacey and Mark. We've obviously Fen, Jane, Diane, Steve Hunter joined us. I hope I've not missed anybody out, but I'm going to say cheerio. And if you haven't yet managed to donate to the GoFundMe, the link is in the description to this video below. If you would like to,
everybody left.
Yeah. Can I just get a final word from you ladies, please?
I just want to encourage everybody to keep donating for the family. I want to work towards getting some of that stuff up that he was working on, and I just want everybody to keep to remember him. I mean, I just said I want him to remember him. I want everyone to work together. I want to stop with the fighting and the drama, and I want everyone to just remember that life is too short. And so we could accomplish so much more when we work together, as this whole thing has proven.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
And that's what I want people to focus on. Focus on the case. Focus on on the positives and, you know, that we can do together, and just keep doing that. That'd be the best way to honor Richard.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Julie?
I still don't know how to feel.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel. I don't think it's really hit, but I appreciate everything that everybody's doing and donating to his family. And Paul, I appreciate you doing this video, and everything that everybody's doing. I personally appreciate it, but I don't know how to feel, and I'm just trying to help in any way I can. So again, if you donate, and if you donate $50, send me an email. My email's right here, and I will send you a blanket or whatever you want. I'll send you something. And if you have anything that you want to go to the family, I will be at the service. Get in touch with me, and I will pass it along to them. And we will keep you posted, and I will let you guys know as soon as we have and items in the Zazzle store for in memory of Richard.
And remember tonight, just one more thing. Remember tonight, Ricky Kid and I are going to be talking about Richard on Ricky's Live. So again, join his Facebook group, Ricky Kid Freed with 2 Ds, Ricky Kid with 2 Ds and Freed. And the reason Ricky wants to do this is because he did do an interview with Erekose, and he really respected what he was doing. And he wants to just honor him in some way. So that's going to be tonight, probably around 8 o'clock Central Time. So 2 hours from now, hopefully. But yeah, please tune in for that if you can. It'd be nice to hear from everyone on a bigger platform, I guess I should say. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, it's a shame that we, you know, have to talk about the subject matter, but it's been great having you on. So thank you, Julie. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, everybody else that's joined in. And I'll just get you to say cheerio.
Okay, we'll be talking. We'll still be talking.
Yeah.
Okay, goodbye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.